Well, it appears that not all Democrats are willing to sit idly by as the authoritarian oligarchy 70 plus million Americans voted for has their way with, well, whatever they want.
Why does DOGE need all of that?
Well, it doesn't, but they get it very easily. I mean, we don't have very good security in our country, and they get it very easily. And
what I'm thinking about and talking to my friends at Democracy Defenders and other lawyers about is a nationwide class action lawsuit to follow up on last week's victories against Musk, against the Trump administration for this breach in computer security and the data of all American taxpayers. It could be a class action suit on behalf of all Americans.
Yeah, imagine that. An unelected official infiltrating the Treasury to access private data is something that could be met with legal ramifications. I'm shocked.
I'm shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Representative Jamie Raskin, a Meidas mighty favorite and one of President Donald Trump's most fervent opponents, announced while on MSNBC over the weekend that Democrats are considering a class action lawsuit on behalf of all Americans against Donald Trump and Elon Musk for their breach of American data by DOGE.
What I'm thinking about and talking to my friends at Democracy Defenders and other lawyers about is, could there be a nationwide class action lawsuit to follow up on last week's victories against Musk, against the Trump administration for this breach in computer security and the data of all American taxpayers? It could be a class action suit on behalf of all Americans. If the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers want to opt out and they don't want their part of the money for the contamination of their data, fine, they can opt out. But really, it's a suit on behalf of everybody because that's our information. It doesn't belong to Elon Musk or his little midnight crew. It belongs to the people, and the government has to hold it in trust. Now, there's specific statutes which say that information can only be accessed for tax purposes, for the purposes of the internal revenue system, and for no other purposes. What are they using that information for?
Now, as we know, Musk recently accessed Treasury records and said that he was told $100 billion a year in entitlement payments are made to individuals with no social security or temporary identification number. He said this in typical Musk fashion, akin to his interesting when commenting on completely baseless accusations before deleting it. But he said, quote, "If accurate, this is extremely suspicious" on X, which he owns and controls the narrative.
Feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected. It doesn't matter how many cheerleaders he had on the field campaigning for him. That doesn't mean that he gets to go in and sit atop any of our agencies. And the fact that we had a vote today and we asked to bring him in because we have a constitutional duty. We all took our oath, and maybe some of y'all just don't take it seriously, but I take it seriously when I take an oath to do a job, and my job is to look out and make sure that we don't have any kings or queens in this country. But it seems like y'all have decided that it's going to be Mr. King and his queen, and y'all can pick which one is which.
Now, Raskin and many Democrats alike have argued that Musk had no right to infiltrate the Treasury, maintaining that he does not have the authority to access the sensitive data in the first place. Now, Raskin, a constitutional lawyer by trade, referred to a Reagan-era rule as he strategizes how to fight back. Reagan wanted it to be a crime to have unauthorized access to obtain and distribute other people's information. The act allows a citizen whose private data has been compromised through a breach of government computers to sue for damages. Which, if we've watched what has taken place over the past week, there's a case to be made.
Yeah. This is an unprecedented moment in our nation's history. Donald Trump and an unelected billionaire, Elon Musk, are illegally dismantling our government agency by agency and illegally stealing your data, your money, and your services. I would love for Mr. Musk to come here and testify before this committee so we can understand his qualifications to do this, because last I checked, running a social media platform does not qualify you for understanding how the U.S. government works and making sure that it can operate and serve the American people.
Now, Raskin's efforts come after Musk and some of the young staffers working for him on behalf of DOGE not only accessed Treasury Department records containing social security numbers and account data for millions of Americans, but a representative from DOGE was granted access to the Energy Department's IT system also. This access was granted by Energy Secretary Chris Wright, even over objections from the member of the department's General Counsel and Chief Information Officer. This, according to CNN's reporting, they said that members of the General Counsel and officers said, quote, "This is a bad idea because the person hadn't had a standard background investigation." Sounds a little concerning, don't you think?
Is that the best they've got?
It's certainly part of the conversation that I think Democrats should be having. And I would love to be here the day that it was announced that George Soros had been given access to the Treasury payments and he was going to be running a bureaucracy. We'll call it Jew-Doge to make it George Soros applicable. And he was going to decide how many thousands of people we fire. He had a bunch of 19-year-olds that he really liked. Maybe they interned for him. Maybe they're just a Palantir kid. And he was going to bring them in and he was going to change the way we run our government. He was going to move fast and break things like they do out in the Bay Area. But instead, your Social Security payments would be on the table. Your job would be on the table. Your Medicaid would be on the table. And you say Democrats are the only ones melting down. Is Senator Wicker a Democrat and I missed it? Or Jerry Moran? Or even Marco Rubio when he used to have a moral compass, 2017. Foreign aid isn't charity. It's critical to our national security. If you're so concerned about making sure that we stay in front of China, which would love to eat our lunch any way that they can, this kind of aid matters.
That's what Rubio just said.
Yeah. No, the program that he's talking about in 2017 is different than what is going on today. It absolutely is.
And
anyway,
it's not the principle of what he's saying.
The fundamental issue here is that we have three co-equal branches of government and the executive doesn't care about Congress anymore. Congress appropriated this money. They say it was an EO. Originally it was, but in 1998 it was enshrined by Congress as a law. You need to go through the proper hurdles. And there are plenty of Democrats who've said, let me in the DOGE caucus. They want to have conversations about things to cut. Maybe there are lima bean dancers in malaria in wherever that need to be eliminated. But you have, and just one more thing. They've blocked access to secure communications for hundreds of USAID employees who are currently in war zones. How can that be okay with you?
Some people get fired, and I thought it was just them, and it turned out it was 60 senior people for USAID, and I watched it happen, and that was just absolutely heartbreaking. People who've given decades of their work to this kind of this work. I mean, they've given their lives. And then it kind of went really downhill, and DOGE was in the building. We took down our pride flags. I took out any books I thought would be incriminating. No one was talking. We heard they started taking transcripts automatically of all of our Google Meets. They unplugged the news in the little kitchen galleys. It didn't feel good. And then Friday, we heard that DOGE was here taking down the signs. And then Saturday, all of the websites went down.
And the thing is, DOGE has already faced legal retribution for their overreach. Last week, a federal judge blocked DOGE from accessing the information after several Democratic attorneys, including Maryland's Anthony Brown, filed a lawsuit.
We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution, or you look at the laws that have been passed into law and say, never mind, we'll just ignore that. Instead, we are going to be in your face, we are going to be on your asses, and we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like.
And now, in the words of Jamie Raskin, more legal action could be taken because, quote, Americans' private information doesn't belong to Elon Musk or his little midnight crew.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.